Is the rally intensifying? Are things about to get even more crazy in this next 5-day spread, maybe 10-day spread as well? Well, that is the topic of today. Of course, also revisiting some of the daily statistics as well. And other than that, I want to welcome you back to the Krown Crypto channel. You already know the rest of it, and let's jump into the chart view right on over here. So first things first, on off with the daily statistics, we can see that for Tuesday, from CME's perspective, not from index spot, but from CME futures perspective, Tuesday is actually not the most bullish day. Out of all closures that are represented in CME's history, just under 46% did close positively, with a 2.29% return and a 2 spot on the positive side, I should say. And on the negative side, when it does close negatively, I mean, it did return an average of negative 2.15%. Again, contrast that versus spot over here, which Tuesday is actually the most likely to close positively at just over 60%, or almost 60.5%. That is, of all Tuesdays closing positively. But what we're going to be doing, and the next sort of update for this indicator, the Krown range statistics, which again you can find a link to in the description below, is you're going to be able to customize a date range that you want to measure for these statistics over here. That'll be coming very, very soon. And if you already have the indicator, if you already have the package, it's just going to update automatically for you. So just waiting for the development team to get done with that. But let's measure things out right now, just kind of get an idea what the overall range is for today in terms of likelihood. So to the upside, 2.29% on top of the open would be about 53,600 or just around there. And to the downside, we'd be looking at, let's say, about 51,200-ish region to the downside. So the likely range for today as far as that goes. You can kind of see that Bitcoin's already more or less tested that to the downside on CME. Of course, CME a little bit different than spot price action because yesterday was a holiday, and well, they kind of mess things up with the way that the hours go right here, but same thing basically. Anyways, moving on now, I want to get into the 5-day model. So this is the volatility versus stochastic momentum model, and this is the one that has been essentially governing the upside probabilities, especially since Bitcoin flipped back above 45 to 46,000 bucks, suggesting that there was significant more upside on top of that. Anyways, in this case, we still see volatility is expanding. It's actually almost at 50 percentile right here from the BBWP's perspective, and we still see that the 5-day stochastic oscillator is positioned to the upside. So volatility still expanding, plus momentum still going up, still suggests that, hey, upside still more likely. And by the way, we just got another 5-day closure last night, and as you can see, the momentum pivot has actually shifted to 45,000, like real dyslexia right there. 45,250 basically, and getting back into the critical zone right here. So, the thing is that this rally is certainly very hot right now. Like, it's very mature, I would say. But if we go ahead and revisit our statistics over here for the long side of these setups, which we've documented all of the long side setups in Bitcoin's history, there's been 14 long side setups on the 5-day time frame with this, and they've actually all had pretty significant results. We can see that on average these have taken about 32 days to play out. There is a standard deviation on that number at just under 10, 9.9, but 32 days is very interesting because measuring from when this one essentially was getting going to where we're at right now is, well, 30 days. So in the next period, we will have 35 days. And again, this just updated last night, so we just got a new closure. So if we're going off of the averages here, we actually would expect continuation this week within this next 5-day spread, very, very likely. In fact, sooner rather than later, because 32 days is basically 2 days away. So going back into it right here, I just do want to iterate that there is a standard deviation of about 10. Else is running around in the background. But so, theoretically speaking, it could go all the way up to 40. But as you can see on all these listed thingies here, what the fuck are you doing in the background? I need clothes, blah, 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 blah. I need to go to ballet. Yeah, anyways, for shit that actually matters, we can see that, most of these results, are around 30 days, 30 to 35 days. There's a few that are kind of pulling up the average at 50 to 40 just a couple of times. But again, what's most likely here is that if we're going to see this one continue, it likely happens actually sooner rather than later. So for the people who are talking about a parabolic advance on Bitcoin, I think that they're right. And I think that this model mathematically is is suggesting something similar here. Like, at least that's what's most likely right now. And I'm not saying that Bitcoin necessarily has to stop in 5 days or 10 days. Just you're probably likely to get to the next like major high before a long form consolidation before the next move, which can also be to the upside as well. It's just, it's going to take some time. Like, you'd probably be in for like another month of sideways, maybe 2 months of sideways. So looking at it right here, and then also referencing the average return numbers at 40% with a standard deviation of 11.25%, we can see that from the low of this to where Bitcoin is at right now, we've seen about 33% move to the upside. So it's actually still below the average by a good margin. If we go all the way up to around the average, that would put Bitcoin at 55,800-ish region. If it goes for the upper end of that, like let's say things get just fucking crazy, we see the top side of the first standard deviation tagged, that would be closer to like 50% or like 48, 49%. That would put Bitcoin at 59,000 or above 59,000 bucks. So again, if you do want to be like a full-on moon boy, there are things that do suggest that. Now, I'm going to provide the other side of this as well, and what to look for if we're going to see correction first. But, these are extreme rallies, and extreme rallies always get more extreme before they don't. It's kind of what I've learned. So anyways, going into our next chart over here, let's talk about what sort of let's go to this first. Go to the 5-day HPDR. So what would be indicative that we are going to see that next leg up, more powerful than anything else? Really, it would be the 5-day time frame closing above the top side of the 50% range right here, which is 53,650. Already tested the high of that. That's on CME, by the way. So it is a premium over spot price action, but so do be cognizant of that. But 53,500, above there, Bitcoin very likely tests 61.8 region, which is 56,800, and probably puts in a move somewhere between there and the 78.6, which is all the way up. It's fucking crazy right now. 61.9. I'm not even gonna say that number. Well, I just did, but I guess that's like fucking true moon boy mode. I guess fair enough. Anyways. By the same token, Bitcoin did just play at the bing and bong right here. So it did just test, it surpassed or closed above, I should say, the median, tested the top side of the 50% range high. Mr. Bong, is it too high? How high are you? Well, again, if we are going to see volatility contract, we would actually be expecting a pullback from here. Volatility, however, is expanding on the 5-day time frame, both on CME from a HPDRV perspective and also the BBWP over here. So I am inclined to say that probably no, or that would be suggestive of yes. Kind of crazy. Anyways, I do need to provide the other side of this. What would, if present, be indicative of at least a short-term reversal? Again, not like a macro reversal or anything like that, but a short-term reversal likely leading towards, a short-term consolidation and probably try for a higher low. Well, it'd be the same condition as yesterday. Need to see a closure below Friday's low on CME, which was 51,800. If you see that, okay, fair enough. We're going to see a move likely somewhere down around 50,000 bucks before the next sort of bounce attempt. And then come back to it after that, I suppose. But, at that point, you're going to see a lot of divergences start to play out. Again, the daily is still building over here. It's still building a divergence. I mean, all the daily RSI is going to be lower than, let's see. This is like all the way back to October highs. Like 35,000 bucks, like it's going to be present there. That's the problem. So when you do see a local high confirmed, it's going to play out pretty damn fast. 2-day time frame, also same thing, way below these highs over here. 5-day time frame, also same thing, way below even the highs of 47,000 bucks. So, so it is building right there. It's going to come into play at some point. The question is, does Bitcoin continue first and then play it out after confirming a local high, or vice versa? Well, I do think that based off what we're looking at, probabilistically speaking, upside is still more likely for this next 5 days of action, I suppose. So fair enough. Moi moi. That means goodbye and also hi and finish, in case you happen to give a fuck. Anyways, we're 9.5 minutes into this video right now. Again, I know that this looks crazy. I know that this looks very intense, but it can get more intense, I guess, before Bitcoin does play out a more prolonged consolidation. I mean, for reference, like we really did just see like all of December to basically, yeah, all of January. So a 2-month spread of consolidation right here. And it's been resolving to the upside for the past 10, 15, almost going on 20 days now. So anyways, yeah, I guess things get more fun. Oh yeah, just following up on Ethereum as well. Yesterday we were looking for continuation. It does look like Ethereum did tag just under $3,000. Closed the 5-day nice and strong. Back down around 29,300 though, but 2930. Again, dyslexia that's not even dyslexia, it's just retardium. And that's a scientific term, by the way, not a derogatory term towards some people, but I'm like literally held back. Can't fucking read, man. Anyways, yeah, Ethereum still pretty strong here. I think that this is the move that takes it above 3,000. All major moving averages switching above the 200 simple moving average now. I mean, this is continuation, long term, monthly. I mean, monthly RSIs back around the bullish control zone now. I mean, this seems to be the move. Finally, I think it's what a lot of people think for Ethereum. Anyways, I think that's a good place for me to be leaving off. Again, do be cognizant, however, of Bitcoin below on a closing basis, I should say, not just a wick below like we've already seen. Like obviously that doesn't really matter that much, but on a closure below Friday's low, or sorry, actually I would even switch that statement up to Thursday's low. It's $200 low. We're at 51,600. But if you do see a wick, or sorry, not a wick, but a closure lower there, yeah, you do have a local high. Pullbacks, at least in the short term, are going to be confirmed and probably at least looking down to $50,000. But for right now, still game on until that happens. And yeah, good place for me to be leaving off. As always, I want to wish you the best. Hopefully I get all of the new gear today, which would be amazing. So I can start setting up and we can start doing live streams and fun stuff yet again. Until then, I want to wish you the best. Take care, much love, and see you hopefully tomorrow.